They say the mate bond feels like coming home. They lied.
Stop!
Mine felt like burning alive while everyone I loved watched and smiled. I, Kale Blackthorn, Alpha of the Silvercrest Pack, reject you, Seraphina Vale, as my mate and future Luna. The words hit me like silver bullets, one after another, shredding through the invisible thread that had connected us since my 18th birthday 3 months ago. The sacred bonding ceremony hall, decorated with white roses and moonflowers, filled with 300 witnesses from 5 neighboring packs, spun around me in a blur of shocked gasps and gleeful whispers. I stood there in my ceremonial white dress, hand-woven with silver thread that caught the candlelight, the Luna crown halfway to my head in the elders' trembling hands. Stood there like a fool, like prey that didn't know it was already dead. Kale's ice-blue eyes held mine, cold and distant as a winter storm. Those same eyes that had traced every curve of my face just last week, dark with promise and possession. The same mouth that had whispered forever against my throat, now twisted into something cruel and beautiful. You will accept this rejection. His alpha command rolled through the hall like thunder, and every wolf in attendance felt the weight of it. But it was aimed at me, a blade meant to force my surrender, my compliance, my complete and utter destruction. The mate bond thrashed inside my chest like a dying animal, clawing, screaming, begging me to refuse, to fight, to fall to my knees and beg him to reconsider whatever madness had possessed him. I felt my wolf, Artemis, howling in agony somewhere deep in my soul. She had already accepted him, had already given herself over to his wolf completely. The severance would destroy us both. Around us, I heard the whisper start like poison seeping through cracks. I knew she wasn't good enough. An orphan with no pack ties, no bloodline, thinking she could be Silvercrest's Luna. He's finally come to his senses. My best friend Lyra stood in the crowd, tears streaming down her face, her mate Marcus holding her back from reaching me. My adoptive parents sat frozen in their seats, faces pale with horror and something else, something that looked almost like resignation, as if they'd been expecting this. That look shattered something vital inside me. Kale's new beta, Damien, stood beside him with barely concealed satisfaction. They'd been friends since childhood, Damien and I, until Kale had chosen him as beta 2 months ago. Since then, he'd changed, grown colder, more calculating. And the way Kale's younger sister, Isabella, stood at the front row with tears that looked rehearsed, her hand clutched dramatically to her chest. This was a performance. A planned execution. Why? The word escaped before I could stop it. Small and broken, and so pathetic I want to claw it back. Kale's jaw tightened, a muscle jumping beneath his bronze skin. For just a heartbeat, something flickered in those winter eyes, regret, pain, before it vanished behind walls of ice. You are not strong enough to stand beside an alpha of my standing. The moon goddess made a mistake. The moon goddess made a mistake. Those words would echo in my nightmares for years to come. Laughter bubbled up from somewhere dark and shattered inside me. The moon goddess made a mistake. I repeated, my voice growing stronger, clearer, cutting to the whispers like a blade. Interesting theory, Alpha. I stepped forward, and he tensed. Good. Let him fear what he'd created. Seraphina Vale, I said, each word dripping with venom and promises of vengeance. Accept your rejection. The bond snapped. I had thought the rejection would hurt. I was wrong. It didn't hurt, it obliterated. It felt like someone had reached into my chest and ripped out my heart, my lungs, my soul, leaving nothing but a howling void. My wolf's anguished scream tore through my mind, and I tasted blood as I bit through my lip to keep from collapsing. But I didn't fall. I wouldn't give them that. Instead, I watched Kale stagger, his hand fly at his chest, his face going white as the same agony I felt crash through him. For a moment, just a moment, I felt savage satisfaction. He thought he could destroy me without consequence. Let him burn too. Seraphina, he reached for me, instinct overriding whatever lies he'd built in his head. Don't. The word cracked like a whip. You wanted me gone? Congratulations, Alpha. You've made the biggest mistake of your immortal life. I turned to the crowd, to every smug face, every pitying look, every person who had watched my humiliation like entertainment. My adoptive mother was crying silently. My father wouldn't meet my eyes. You want to know the truth? My voice rose, carrying to every corner of the massive hall, echoing off the ancient stone walls carved with the pack's history, a history I would no longer be part of. Your Alpha is a coward. He bends to the will of his council, his sister, his beta, everyone but his own mate, and you will all follow him blindly into whatever destruction that weakness brings. I pulled the silver engagement cuff from my wrist, the one that marked me as future Luna, engraved with both our family lines, and let it clatter to the marble floor. The sound rang out like a death knell. Keep your crown. Keep your pack. Keep your precious reputation. I met Kale's eyes one last time, letting him see every ounce of pain, betrayal, and fury burning through me, letting him see the girl he knew dying in front of him. But know this, Kale Blackthorn, I will rise higher than you ever dreamed possible. And when I do, when you realize what you threw away tonight, it will be too late. I will be so far beyond your reach you'll need a telescope to see me. Something flickered across his face. Shock, perhaps even fear, but I was already moving, already walking down that aisle with my head high and my heart in pieces, past the whispering crowds, past the decorated arches, past the life I had foolishly believed was mine. The massive oak door stood open, leading out into the night. A full moon hung heavy and silver in the sky, watching, always watching. I felt it then, a pulse of something ancient and electric racing down my spine, pooling in my chest when mate bond had just been torn away. My birthmark, hidden always beneath my clothes, burned with sudden heat against my shoulder blade. The crescent moon shape that my adoptive parents had found glowing on my skin when they discovered me as an infant at the pack's borders. The mark they'd told me meant nothing. They'd lied about that too. As I crossed the threshold into freedom, I heard Kale's roar of frustration echo through the hall, heard the sounds of chaos erupting behind me, but I didn't look back. Looking back was for people with something to lose. I had nothing left but revenge. Chapter 2. 3 years later. The Rogue King's blood was still warm on my hands when I felt it. That old, familiar pull of bond that should have been dead. Fuck, I whispered, staring down at the corpse of the wolf who had terrorized the northern territories for months. His pack of rogues had been pillaging, murdering, taking what they wanted. Until tonight. Until me. Language, Luna. Dante drawled from behind me, and I could hear the amusement in his voice even as he cleaned his own blade. What would the elders say? I shot my second-in-command a withering look over my shoulder. Dante Nightshade was beautiful in the way predators were beautiful, all sharp edges, dark humor, and lethal grace. His obsidian hair fell across amber eyes that gleamed with mischief and malice in equal measure. In another life, another version of myself, I might have fallen for him. Many she-wolves had, but I was broken in ways that made love impossible. The elders can kiss my ass, I replied, wiping my hands on the dead rogue shirt. Around us, the remaining members of his pack knelt in submission, their throats bared to me and the elite warriors I'd brought. What is it? Because Dante knew. He always knew when something was wrong. Your old pack, he said carefully, watching my reaction. Silvercrest. Their messengers have been trying to reach you for 3 days now. Apparently it's urgent. My wolf stirred for first time in hours, interested to spite herself. Artemis had never forgiven Kale for the rejection, had retreated so deep inside me after that night that I thought I might never shift again. But during my first year away, during the darkest nights when I'd wandered the wilderness broken and half mad with grief, something else had awakened. The crescent moon birthmark had split open like a flower, and power had poured through me, ancient, devastating, divine. My wolf had returned, but she was different now, stronger, silver-white instead of the common brown she'd been before. And when I shifted, my eyes glowed with an ethereal light that made other wolves cower. I'd sought answers in forbidden texts, from rogue witches, from shamans who live beyond pack territories. The truth, when I found it, had been staggering. I was moon-sent, a child born of the moon goddess's direct bloodline, hidden away to protect me from those who would use or destroy such power. Only a handful were born each generation, and most never awakened their gifts. But rejection by a mate, the complete severing of a sacred bond, could trigger the awakening. Kale had broken me so thoroughly that he'd accidentally made me divine. The irony was delicious. "Tell them I'm not interested in whatever politics Silvercrest is drowning in," I said, turn to face the kneeling rogues. "These wolves integrate the ones who want to change. Execute the ones who don't. Quickly and cleanly. I won't rule through fear, but I won't tolerate murderers either." I'd built my own pack in 3 years, piece by careful piece. The Lunaris pack, named for the moon that had remade me. We took in the discarded, the rejected, the rogues who wanted a second chance. We'd grown from 20 wolves to over 200, and our reputation had spread like wildfire through the supernatural community. The broken Luna who had become unbreakable. The rejected mate who had rejected fate itself. "Sarah," Dante's hand landed on my shoulder, gentle despite his warrior strength. "The message came with your adoptive father's seal. He says Silvercrest is under attack, a force they can't handle alone. He's begging for your help." Ice flooded my veins. "Begging?" His exact words were, "Tell my daughter I'm sorry and please come home." I closed my eyes against the sudden sting of tears I thought dried up years ago. Home. What a strange, hollow word. Silvercrest hadn't been my home for 3 years. It had been my graveyard, the place where everything I was had died. How bad? I asked. "Reports say it's the Blood Moon Pack. They're claiming Silvercrest violated ancient territory rights. Yuri caught himself. Alpha Kale has lost 2 of his betas and 30 warriors in 3 weeks. Blood Moon. I knew their reputation. They were savage, older than most packs, and they followed the old ways, the brutal ways. If they declared formal war on Silvercrest, they wouldn't stop until the pack was destroyed or absorbed. And Kale was losing. "No," I said flatly. "Let him handle his own mistakes." "Sarah," I said no. I started walking toward where we'd left our vehicles, my combat boots splashing through mud and blood. Kale made his choice. He said I wasn't strong enough to stand beside him. Let him see how strong he is alone. But even as I said it, the bond, that stupid, stubborn ghost of bond, thrummed painfully in my chest. Mates weren't supposed to feel each other after rejection. The bond was supposed to die completely, cleanly. But something about my awakening had changed that too. I couldn't feel his emotions anymore, couldn't sense his location or hear his thoughts. But I knew when he was in danger, knew when he bled. And lately, he'd been bleeding a lot. "Your father is there," Dante said quietly. "Lyra, Marcus, all the wolves who showed you kindness once upon a time. Damn him for knowing exactly which weapons to use." I stopped walking, fists clenched at my sides. The full moon overhead seemed to pulse brighter, and I felt the familiar thrum of power answer its call. On nights like this, I was barely contained violence, barely leashed divinity. The goddess's blood in my veins sang with a need to protect, to fight, to rule. "If I go back," I said slowly, "it's not for him. It's not to save Kale or his cursed pack. It's for the innocents who don't deserve to die for their alpha's pride." "Of course," Dante agreed, but I heard the knowing tone beneath his words. I turned to look at him, this dark wolf who had become my closest friend, my most trusted ally. And if Kale thinks this changes anything, he'll learn otherwise quickly, Dante finished, his smile sharp as a blade. "I'll make sure of it personally." I laughed despite everything, the sound bitter and bright in the darkness. "Pack up. We leave at dawn. And Dante? Send word ahead. Tell them the Lunaris pack is coming. Tell them Luna Serafina has answered their call for aid. And Kale..." I met his knowing gaze. Let him see the eyes that had replaced a girl who used to love easily, who used to trust blindly. "Tell the Alpha that I'm coming to save his pack. Not him. Never him. And when this is over, he'll owe me a debt he can never repay." As Dante moved to carry out my orders, I tilted my face to the moon and felt her presence wash over me, approving, amused, powerful. The goddess had a wicked sense of humor, sending me back to face the male who destroyed me just as I'd finally rebuilt myself into something glorious and terrible. Somewhere in Silvercrest, I knew Kale could feel me coming. The bond might be broken, but we were still connected through invisible threads of fate and fury. I wondered if he was afraid, if he'd finally realized the magnitude of his mistake, if he lay awake at night, haunted by memories of the mate he'd thrown away. I hoped he did. I hoped it destroyed him slowly. Because I was coming home, but not as the broken girl he'd rejected. I was coming as a Luna who had claimed her own crown, built her own kingdom, and discovered power that made alphas kneel. And Kale Blackthorn was about to learn that some mistakes don't just haunt you, they devour you whole. Chapter 3. The borders of Silvercrest territory hit me like a physical blow. I stood at the edge of the forest, my pack arrayed behind me, 200 strong, armed and utterly loyal, and felt the weight of memory try to drag me under. 3 years. 3 years since I crossed these borders as a shattered girl swearing never to return. The land remembered me. I felt it in the way the trees seemed to lean toward me, the way the wind carried familiar scent of pine, and earth and home that wasn't home anymore. My wolf stirred restlessly, caught between the instinct to defend territory we'd once belonged to and the fury of what had been done to us here. You don't have to do this. Lyra's voice came through the phone, tinny with emotion. She called the moment my convoy was spotted. Sarah, you don't owe us anything. You don't owe him anything. I'm not doing this for him, I replied, watching as Silvercrest warriors appear along the border, wary and armed. I'm doing this because innocent wolves are dying, because children don't deserve to suffer for their alpha's sins. He's different now, she said quietly. After you left, God, Sarah, he tried to find you. For months, he nearly destroyed himself looking. Ice crystallized in my veins. Then he should have looked harder. Or better yet, he shouldn't have thrown me away like garbage in front of everyone I knew. I know. She took a shaky breath. He's not the same wolf you left behind. The rejection broke something in him, too. Good, I said, and meant it. Tell your alpha that Luna Serafina and the Linares pack have arrived. We'll camp at the border until we discuss terms. Terms? Did he think I'd come running to his rescue out of the goodness of my heart? That I'd forgotten everything he did? I laughed, cold and bright. No. If I'm risking my pack to save his, we do this my way, on my terms. And if Alpha Kale doesn't like it, he can face the Blood Moon pack alone. I ended the call before she could respond, and turned to face my warriors. They looked back at me with absolute trust, absolute loyalty. I'd earned every single wolf here through action, through keeping my promises, through being the leader I'd been denied the chance to become. Dante moved to my right side, his hand resting casually on the blade at his hip. On my left stood Zara, my head warrior, a scarred she-wolf who'd lost her pack to rogues and rebuilt herself into something fierce and unbreakable. We made quite the picture, I was sure. The rejected Luna who had risen from ashes, flanked by warriors who looked like they ate alphas for breakfast. Everyone maintained position. I called out, my voice carrying through the ranks. No one crosses into Silvercrest territory without my explicit command. We are here as allies, not subjects. Remember that. They need us more than we need them. A ripple of agreement moved through my wolves. They knew what this pack had done to me, knew the story of my rejection and exile, and they'd still followed me here because they trusted my leadership more than they trusted their own instincts for survival. That's what Kale had never understood. True loyalty wasn't demanded or commanded. It was earned bone by bone, choice by choice, sacrifice by sacrifice. The Silvercrest warriors were drawing closer now, and I recognized some faces. Marcus, Lyra's mate, leading the group. He'd been kind to me once, had tried to reach out after the rejection before Kale had forbidden anyone from contacting me. Behind him were other warriors I'd trained beside, eaten beside, laughed before the world had turned to ash. They stopped 20 feet away, and I watched the shock ripple through them as they took in what I'd become. The broken girl they remembered was gone. In her place stood Luna in black tactical gear, silver hair braided back from a face that had lost its softness and found its edge. My eyes, my wolf's eyes, glowed faintly even in daylight now, a side effect of the moon-sent power running through my veins. I looked like what I was. Dangerous. Serafina? Marcus said, and there was so much emotion in that single word. Relief, grief, guilt. You came. I came for them, I replied, gesturing toward the Silvercrest territory where innocent wolves sheltered. Not for your Alpha. Where is he? He's... Marcus hesitated, exchanging glances with the other warriors. He's been injured. The last raid 3 days ago. He took a silver blade to the side, protecting the nursery. He's healing, but slowly. Something twisted in my chest, painful and unwelcome. Silver wounds took time, even for alphas. If it had been a deep cut, if it had nicked anything vital. No, I didn't care. I wouldn't care. Then I'll speak with your beta, I said coldly. Damien is dead, Marcus replied, and satisfaction surged through me before I could stop it. Damien, who had orchestrated my downfall. Damien, who had convinced Kale I wasn't worthy. He fell 2 weeks ago. Kale has been leading without a second. Then he's a fool, I said bluntly. A pack can't function without proper hierarchy, especially during war. Who's been handling pack logistics? Elder Thomas and the council. The same council that pressured him into rejecting me? I laughed, sharp and bitter. Wonderful. I'm sure they're making excellent strategic decisions. I could see the truth in their faces. Silvercrest was falling apart, crumbling from the inside as much as from external attacks. Kale was bleeding out his authority one bad decision at a time, surrounded by advisors who valued tradition over survival. He'd given up his mate, his goddess-chosen partner, to appease those same elders. And now, he was reaping exactly what he'd sown. Serafina, please. Marcus took a step forward, then froze as Zara's hand moved to her weapon. We need you. Kale needs you. Kale needs an army and a miracle. I corrected, and I'm only offering one of those things. My wolves will camp here at the border. We'll defend Silvercrest territory against Blood Moon attacks, but we won't integrate with your pack. We won't follow your Alpha's orders. We work independently, or we don't work at all. He'll never agree to that, one of the other warriors muttered. Having a foreign pack on our soil, without his direct command. Then he can watch his pack burn. I said simply, those are my terms. If Alpha Kale wants a Lenar's pack's aid, he can crawl to the border and beg for it himself. Otherwise, tell him to enjoy his war. I turned away, dismissing them entirely, and began giving orders to my wolves about establishing camp. Behind me, I heard Marcus and the others retreat, their voices urgent with argument about what to tell their injured Alpha. Dante appeared at my elbow, smirking. You're enjoying this. Shouldn't I be? I countered, watching as my warriors efficiently set up tents and defensive perimeters. He humiliated me in front of hundreds. Now he gets to humble himself in front of his entire pack, to beg for help from the mate he rejected. You know he'll come, Dante said quietly. Pride or not, duty or not, the mate bond. The mate bond is dead. I snapped. He killed it. And if he's stupid enough to show his face, I'll make sure he understands exactly what he lost. But even as I said it, I felt that phantom pull of the bond tug at my ribs. Kale was near. Wounded, weakened, but near. And every predatory instinct in me wanted to track him down, to see him bleed, to make him hurt the way he'd hurt me. Or maybe, and this was the terrifying part, to make sure he was okay. 3 years, and I still wasn't sure which impulse was stronger. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of blood and fire when I felt him approach. Every wolf in my camp felt it too, the distinctive pressure of an Alpha's presence, even one weakened by injury. My warriors went still, hands moving to weapons, eyes cutting to me for guidance. I turned slowly, deliberately, to face the tree-lean. And there he was, Cale Blackthorn, alpha of the Silvercrest Pack, stumbling out of the shadows like a ghost of the powerful male I remembered. He'd lost weight, I noticed with clinical detachment. His dark hair was longer, unkempt, falling across a face carved harder by pain and time. Those ice-blue eyes found mine immediately, and something in them made my breath catch despite everything. He looked haunted, desperate, and absolutely shattered. He was alone, no warriors, no guards, no show of strength. Just one wounded alpha making the walk of shame to the border, where his rejected mate waited with an army at her back. This was going to be so much more satisfying than I'd imagined. Cale stopped at the boundary line. Swaying slightly, one hand pressed his side where I could see blood seeping through his shirt. Silver poisoning, making his healing crawl. He should be in bed, being tended by pack healers. Instead, he was here, staring at me like I was water, and he'd been dying of thirst for 3 years. "Seraphina," he said, and my name on his lips was agony and reverence and regret all at once. I let the silence stretch, let him stand there bleeding and broken, while my wolves watched with barely concealed hostility. Let him feel what I had felt that night, small, powerless, humiliated. "Alpha Cale," I finally said, my voice empty of emotion. "I hear you need help." Something cracked in his expression. "I need you." 3 words. 3 simple, devastating words that would have brought me to my knees 3 years ago. Now they just made me angry. "You had me," I replied coldly. "You rejected me. Publicly. Viciously. You told me I wasn't strong enough to stand beside you. You said the moon goddess made a mistake." I took a step toward him, and he flinched. "Good. So tell me, Alpha, do you still think I'm not strong enough? Do I still look like a mistake to you?" He swallowed hard, his eyes tracking over the evidence of my transformation. The silver hair that marked me as moon scent, the ethereal glow in my gaze, the confident, lethal way I carried myself now, the army of loyal wolves at my back who would kill for me without hesitation. "You're magnificent," he whispered. "You're everything I knew you could be." "No," I corrected, moving closer until we were separated by nothing but the invisible borderline and 3 years of fury. "I'm everything you prevented me from becoming. Everything you tried to destroy because you were too weak to stand against your council, your sister, your precious reputation." "I know," he said, and his voice broke. "God, Sarah, I know. I was a coward. I was a fool. I have spent every single day of the last 3 years drowning in regret, searching for you, trying to make myself worthy of asking your forgiveness." "Stop." The command in my voice made him obey instantly, and I saw the moment he realized what that meant. I had more authority than him now, more power. The broken girl he'd thrown away had become something greater than he would ever be. I didn't come here for your apologies or your regrets. I came because innocent wolves are dying, and I won't let that happen, even for a pack that doesn't deserve my mercy. "Tell me what you need." Cale said immediately. "Anything, everything. The pack is yours to command." "The pack is mine to save," I corrected, "not to command. I work independently, or I leave. You want my help? Then you accept my terms. Give my wolves access to your resources and intelligence, and you stay out of my way. And when this is over, when I've saved Silvercrest from the destruction you brought down on it, you will let me leave. No demands, no attempt to follow, no pathetic gestures. You will let me go, and you will never contact me again. Those are my terms." Each word landed like a blade, and I watched him bleed, watched understanding dawn that I wasn't here for reconciliation. I was here for revenge disguised as mercy. "And if I refuse," he asked quietly, "then you die," I said simply. "You, your pack, everyone in Silvercrest territory. The Blood Moon pack will tear through you like paper, and I'll go home knowing I offered you a chance and you threw it away, just like you threw me away." Cale closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, they were bright with unshed tears. "I accept your terms. All of them. Just please, Sarah, save my pack. Save the wolves who didn't deserve to suffer for my mistakes. Victory should have tasted sweeter. Instead, it tasted like ash and old grief. Then get out of my sight, I said. Go heal, get your pack in order, and prepare them to follow my command when the next attack comes. Because I will save them, Kale. Not for you, never for you, but I will save them. He nodded once, a broken, defeated gesture, then turned to limp back toward his territory. But he paused at the treeline, looking back at me one last time. I love you, he said, and the words hung in the air like ghosts. I never stopped loving you, and I will spend the rest of my life regretting that I was too blind to see what I had until it was gone. Then he was gone, swallowed by shadows and regret, leaving me standing at the border with my heart hammering and my wolf howling in confusion. Because 3 years later, after everything he'd done, some broken, terrible part of me still reacted to those words. Still wanted to believe them. Sarah? Dante's hand landed on my shoulder, grounding me. You okay? I looked at him, at the concern in his amber eyes, and made myself smile. Made myself remember who I was now, what I'd survived, what I'd become. I'm perfect, I lied. Let's go save an alpha who isn't worth saving. But as I walked back to camp, I couldn't shake the image of Kale's haunted eyes, or the way my own foolish heart had stuttered when he'd said he loved me. 3 years of healing, undone in 3 minutes. This was going to be so much harder than I'd thought. And somewhere in the darkness, I heard the moon goddess laugh.